Hello and welcome back to the Square. Today I have a really cool episode in which I'm going to take a look at the game that I played recently. It is on my phone account, so it is the Blue Cheesecake YouTube account, and I'm playing as Polaris, my beloved, and my opponent is Bardur, and it is a really interesting game because it's really close. And the map generation is also really interesting because it basically didn't allow Bardur to go onto the water, but there's also no reason for them to get onto the water. And for me, the terrain was also pretty interesting because it basically amounted that we were going to get a clash over this one village. And it's really interesting. And by the way, if you like my content, I'm going to change it and experiment a bit more with the content. So let me know in the comments down below how you think about all of the content. Let me give you some feedback. Alright, so let's just see how all of this turns out. It is a small continents map and it's cool. Yeah, right. Epic. Let's just get right into it. By the way, like and comment and subscribe, of course. Don't forget. Really interesting, important stuff. Yes, Polytopia things. Good. See some kind of standard stuff here. We of course get lucky with this village over here, and let's turn on the fog so that we can see what we can see. Opponent does find a ruin very early on. Okay, we don't find a village here. Should have put my warrior over here rather than... No, actually, yeah, should have gone over here, because these two might indicate a village over here, which is more likely with this animal, but that was just a small misplay, I guess. Our opponent opts for riding very early on, which is interesting because usually on continents that's not something you want to do. Right, so a couple of warriors just to expand more rapidly. Polaris needs to get some land going before they can really start cooking. Right, so our opponent here goes for an explorer. They see a ruin, a couple of villages, and they find a lighthouse, which allows them to upgrade their capital again. Going for that early giant. Pretty insane. Their economy was booming. They meet us and they start exploring this side, but as you saw, there's nothing over here, making them really not able to go for the watery route, which is actually good for them, because if you're playing against Polaris, you don't want to invest all of your precious stars into a technology that is going to make you invest even more stars that you're going to lose by just cheap riders. Finally get to upgrade our second city. Take an explorer. Good. Lighthouse. See that ruin as well. They get forestry. Now they can get a giant if they so wish to. Let's see if they do. Of course. There you go. Immediately plops down that park. So at this point, you can see that my opponent here is very much in a good position. They have one more city than I do. They have a giant. They're gonna get this village probably. And they have riders. They're gonna get this ruin quite probably. Unless I invest quite a lot of stars into it. Or stall. But that is very expensive. And we don't want that because riders are really good against that. It's not looking great. Alright, so they go for both of them. They get archery, which is going to help them a lot during this game. Okay, so I decide to break the ice so that they can't just invade my mainland. And I decide to go for the safe freeze. Could have gone over here, maybe. But I decide that they can have that ruin. Because, well, there's not too many things that can go wrong, per se. Oh, they decide to whack my Mooney. Well, that's a misplay. I'd say that's a misplay. Because if they just claimed that ruin, maybe it gave them something very useful, and now they don't get that yet. We get population. And we do some more stalling, but we can't win this fight yet. Especially with their archers, they are able to start killing my Mooney. And this Mooney, which they make amazing sound effects, by the way. Don't know if you've heard that, but that's great. I love that sound effect. So I get riding as well, just in order to be able to even try to fend them off of that village and the ruin. But it's not gonna work because they will be able to kill my Moonies, which cost me a lot of stars. Well, actually, this one is free, but still, they're expensive stuff. Free kills. They get math, which is kind of weird. It's a bit too early for that. We are able to stall them for one more turn, but they will be able to kill my Mooney. Mountain ruin spotted. Never mind, they're not able to kill my Mooney. Border growth on our capital. Opponent goes for roads. But look at this. It's just their position is they're going to be able to basically pressure us on this side of the map a lot. But they won't be able to pressure us here. And that is very much an interesting thing that will bite them in the future of this game. But for now though, look at that. Their army is huge compared to mine, and we are not in a fighting position. It is very difficult to get back from this. Especially with the roads. Roads and archers together are serious pain in the neck. We see another village, which is great. But what is also interesting is that our economy is actually better than theirs. And that will explain some of the crazy things that are about to happen. Such as with this ice archer. They get a bunch of free kills. Yeah, they are investing so many stars into their units. We're just stalling. Get climbing for that ruin. Yep, they can get a bunch of kills. It's about to be over. Another giant? Nope, just a border growth. Bop-a-da-bop. Stars. Stars are essential here. We need stars. Because without them, it's not gonna be a good fight. So we get chivalry just to counter all of these riders and maybe some of these archers, but their position is still pretty strong, especially with that giant. Yep, they are advancing, even with that veteran swordsman. Scary. Very scary. Get another giant. Bada bing, bada boom. Explorer. Which totally goes the wrong way. Bad job on their part. Yeah, we won't be able to stop them from doing anything over here anymore. So we have to give up that village. But we stalled them quite a lot. Meaning that our economy is actually doing still better than theirs. We get our first knight. Oh, a bridge play, which is, in my humble opinion, really lucky. Let's take a look at the replay fog and turn that off. Right. Turn it on. They don't have vision. They don't have vision on that night. They got incredibly lucky finding that. Just had to put that out there. Wait. I can leave it off. 2 giants coming my way. Another one. Might honestly have been better to get a park. But this is not looking great. Our entire army has just vanished. Our knight got yoinked. And it's not a good position. They will probably get that city unless I get some kind of good defense going. So we just stall. And would you look at that? Another border growth. Or should I say Bardur growth? And would you look at that? Another giant. Lots of stars are getting invested into that. And I need you to think about that. Is it really worth it to invest that many stars into a giant if you could just get a bunch of good units? Even get a couple of catapults or something. And maybe start getting onto the water even. Wouldn't that be better? To just open a new front and absolutely annihilate? Maybe that would have been better. But they wanted those cities. They get trade even, which is honestly a lot over the top. They're going to siege that city. And it just looks like it's over. I wanted to concede at this point. It's just, this is a very much unwinnable battle. It's just not great. Veteran Swordsman's not gonna help. Get Polarism. Always nice. Even more markets. Their economy is getting out of hand. Catapult spotted. But we keep stalling their units. Especially these giants. We need to... Okay, I get lucky here as well. We need to stall those giants as much as we can. So that we don't just get overrun by them. But in that one turn, we went from... It's not looking great. In a couple of turns, I should say. We went from it's not looking great to wait a minute. They wasted all their stars on just too many not so useful units. And now we're going to get into a counteroffensive. Because we are able to just pin down their most important units and keep them busy. But it's still pretty close. Especially if they start playing a bit defense and slowly start trying to get over here. Well, it's gonna be scary. See their capital? We bonk that rider, siege it. Just too bad that they had that catapult over here waiting. Probably at this point, it's where the game starts turning around. Even though they have a great economy with around 33 stars per turn. Our units are so efficient with Polarism. Look at this. I can go all the way over here. I can just... From my capital, I can siege this city with one knight. With some roads, I could also just go over here as well. It's just great. Oh, would you look at that? It's exactly what I do. Even though it makes just barely a dent in their economy, if you take a look at the length of our turns, mines are getting so much longer now. Because I just have more units. And that might have been due to the fact that we were able to stall them enough to keep getting use out of this city somewhat. And these 4 are more useful than when there's a catapult on your city, because usually you don't move them that much. Well, if you start getting defenders, they're also not that useful. Opponent starts defending, and if you start defending, you usually know it's gonna go over. Great stuff. Hit him with the defender. Get diplomacy. Diplomacy is, honestly, it's just gravy. Diplomacy with Polarism is, honestly, it's broken. It's so strong. These guys are gonna go zook. They kill my Gami. Honestly, Gami don't do anything at all, so that's fine. We're able to eliminate one of their giants, but they are doing a really good job still at making sure they zone of control so that I can't go in with a knight. That's why I opted to go for that cloak. Look at how far that guy can go. All the way over here. It's great. But honestly, I placed it at the worst spot. Which they, admittedly, once again, very luckily find. Look at that. They move that giant forward. And they find that cloak. Too bad, so sad. They siege my city. I can only stall with a ice archer. Still not looking great. But it's gonna get better. We were able to hit this because they made a misplay. Trying to expose my cloak here. And now we're able to just eliminate their back row. And get some more cloaks going. Even though they almost have double our income. We're just able to get rid of so many of their units. And I was prepared for that knight of theirs. They get ramming. Good for them. Another giant down. Need to get rid of that knight over there. This knight is still a problem, but I have a plan. Because this section of the map is looking pretty well defended with these catapults and these knights. They once again get lucky with this cloak. That they find that is really funny actually. Uh-oh. Entire army here. How are we gonna deal with that? Just hit them with the cloak. Cloak their capital. Steal their income. Hit that raft, kill it. Kill their entire back line. I'm not sure what they were trying to do with this knight over here though. May have been better off just using that to attack through the bridge. Not sure. Oh yeah. They get smithery. They're making so many choices for units and technologies. Well, honestly, if they just got diplomacy and started cloaking me, it should have been over. It should have been over. I think diplomacy is one of the best, if not the best, late game technologies because it's just so hard to stop. Especially if you have archery and climbing. It's just great. We've been better off just hitting that. But I didn't. Yeah, they can get rid of some of these units, but not all of them. Yeah, it's just... all of their units just disappeared. And And we can cloak them every turn. They're getting sieged on all sides, and I'm not sure if they can even unsiege this anymore. It's just too many units in their territory. There you go. All capitals were captured. Let's take a look at our elo. This is a little teaser for next video, because this is getting insane. Maybe I am going to be the tryhard on small continents. See you in the next video.